identify your power through the concept of Black economics, and also talked about why sustainability and Black economics are really synonymous terms. So for those of you who didn't see the presentation, I'll just recap. But the concept and the idea is really around how, in order to have a sustainable community, and how all communities that exist that are sustainable have at their core an economic undercurrent, and the individuals who support the continuation of the community are supporting, by definition, the sustainability of that community. And when we look at the condition of Black people, specifically in the United States, what we see very clearly is that we, as a group, there are some of us who are not doing this, but on a whole, we are constantly funding and financing the system of racism and white supremacy every time we elect to spend money outside of our community, whether that's with Koreans or Chinese or European car companies, or whatever it is. We are in the United States perpetually financing our oppression. And so what the Let's Buy Black 365 movement is really about is, how do we take our dollars and make the mental shift to consciously stop funding the system of racism and white supremacy and move those dollars towards financing our liberation, financing the sustainability of Black people throughout the nation, and supporting those throughout the diaspora. And how do we truly begin to invest in our, and it's a very, very noble cause, but also identify that we have a history of oppression and self-destructive behavior that has stemmed from our oppression. And if you saw Dr. Malia Kambon's presentation yesterday, that is my mother, but she's a past president of the National Association of Black Psychologists, and she talks a little bit about how the trauma of what we've been through affects some of the choices that we think now are free will. And so, big picture, some of what the presentation talked about, but this whole movement is not about how we get Black people as a group to do anything to shift some of the dynamics, because what we keep hearing are the statistics about the $1.2 billion that we have as buying power, or spending power as it's put. And we keep hearing the statistics about the 1.9 million Black-owned businesses, and we hear the statistics about unemployment, and the how Black women make 82 cents on average on the dollar of their white counterparts, and Black men make about 75 cents on the dollar compared to their white counterparts. So, if we're even looking at just employment, not even entrepreneurship, you can never catch up to someone who's always marginally ahead. So it's not about any of those statistics. It's not about how I or you are going to make a dent in the 1.2 trillion. What it is about is instead of waiting for a group of individuals to get together and say we are going to do this, or asking the question, when are we going to do X, Y, and Z, we're looking at stopping the we statement that in a sense seems like it's about cooperation, but what it has been is a stumbling block to starting, because who determines what what contingent of Black people starts the we? And so what this whole thing is about is, today, right now, you have the power to defund the system of racism and white supremacy, and you have the power to identify the Black-owned businesses, services, and organizations in your area, and you have the power to create the sustainability in the Black community that you want by practicing cooperative economics. And it starts with you, not with the grand we. And when we look at what that means, is that when each of us stands up and taps into that power of what I can do in my own life with the dollars that I have coming in, and whether that is a minimum wage salary, whether it's a six-figure salary, the power is within your hands. And so that is where we begin to really make an impact and make change. And one of the core things that I discuss in addresses some of those mental barriers that we have that keep us from tapping into our own power, because sometimes we'll take one step forward and then in the back of our mind we'll start to backpedal and say, well, you know, I can't really make a change, or well, there are not enough Black-owned businesses, or I don't know if there are enough, you know, I don't know if I could do it every day. Maybe I'll just be Black in December and February and around Martin Luther King Day. And so this is really about making a shift, because once you identify that you are funding a system that you are against, then it's within your control to decide what you want to finance instead, and how passionately you want to defund the system of racism and white supremacy. And so what we have in the Let's Buy Black 365 movement are tools and resources to allow individuals to be able to do just that. And some of those tools and resources look like a Black social network, for example. With the rise of video evidence of police brutality or really what is police terrorism in our community, we see, you know, we are getting more and more Black people waking up and stopping the excuses that we used to make, like, well, maybe he was doing something wrong and that's why he was attacked, or maybe, you know, we used to make excuses, but now it's getting harder and harder to make excuses for all of these cases. And the challenge is that we continue to try and have dialogues about justice, and have dialogues about Black liberation, and have dialogues about what are we going to do about this system on a white social network that blocks our posts, that deletes our posts, that sometimes deletes profiles and hinders communication. And we keep asking, well, how do we get around that? What do we do? Maybe we should organize and fight back. But I would argue that that's the lunch counter approach that we took in the 60s, where instead of going to the Black-owned coffee shop that was happy to serve you and had people who looked like you and loved you, we sat at coffee shop counters and let ourselves be spit on, be spit in, begging to give other people who hated us our money. And you know, that is not meant as a disrespect to the you know, some of those people are our ancestors now, or if they're still living, our elders. It's not meant as a disrespect to them, because they were at least standing up for what they believed in. But I think with the benefit of hindsight being 2020, we realize now that what we should have done was not attempted to finance those who were blatantly oppressing us and blatantly hating us. And so we need to take the modern day approach to that. Why are we financing, through our participation, a social network like Facebook that constantly spits in our face? So Let's Buy Black 365 has a social network where dialogues and conversations about Black economics Black liberation, the positive things that people are doing throughout the diaspora, again, in both the United States and around the world throughout the diaspora. Those conversations are welcomed, and that is the point of the space. So instead of as trying to play in someone else's sandbox, we need to create our own sandbox. And that's what we've done at Let's Buy Black 365. In addition to that, you know, one of the excuses for why people don't patronize Black-owned businesses, and we hear it all the time, is, well, I don't know where the Black-owned businesses are. But I'm going to make this interactive, and Afia, if you can help unmute the microphones, I'd like to hear from the people who are on the call.
I will do that. There was a question that came in earlier before I unmute all the microphones. It's a question from Nana. It says, what are the needs for the organization now?
Okay. Well, what I'd like to do is do an exercise and first, and that will tie directly into the needs of the organization.
Okay, I will do that. What I'm going to ask is for when I unmute your microphone, if you are not available to speak or you have a lot of background noise, you can mute your own microphone on your end, and then you can unmute it as needed. But I'm going to go ahead and unmute all of the microphones, all right?
Okay. So for those of you who don't have a lot of background noise and are able to speak, want to do a group exercise. And so this is call and response participation we're going to do. And I would like to hear how many Black-owned businesses do you know personally? If you just had to ballpark it, 1, 5, 10, 20, 50, 100.
4.
Okay, I heard 4.
10 businesses.
Okay. 4, 10. Gotta speak up a little louder. Let me turn up my microphone, my speaker, so I can hear. Okay. I heard 4 and 10. What else do we have?
Probably about 4.
Okay. Another 4. Anyone else?
I have someone without a microphone who typed in 5.
Okay.
Yeah, he was
Okay.
on South Street from the hotel.
I know about, I'll say 60. Okay. So,
Maria typed in 50.
And I subscribe to her YouTube channel, so when she does a new one and uploads it, it'll pop up.
okay. So I am going to bring a calculator up here really quickly. And I have,
Oh, I don't know. I don't know how to get them.
okay, I'm sharing my calculator. So I have 50, 60, 5, 4, 4, 10. Okay, so on the low end, someone walked in here today knowing 4 businesses. And if we spent about 15 minutes talking through the companies we know, the person who knew 4 businesses can walk out of here knowing 133 businesses. So this is what the movement is about. It's about cooperative economics, and it's about collective work and responsibility. And so what we have done is created a crowdsourced platform where, and I'm going to leave the microphones unmuted for a second, but if you want to mute yourself, just if you have feedback, that would be great. What we can do here is we can talk through what are these 133 businesses that we now know. So that person who thought, well, I only know 4 Black-owned businesses, that's not enough for me to do anything to sustain myself personally with all the services that I need. But maybe within those 133 businesses, there are enough things that I could use to sustain myself. And by talking to others and sharing the resources that we know, perhaps some of those 4 are things that I didn't know that I could use to improve myself. So it's about all of us coming together and sharing the information in a shared space so that we can, again, defund the system of racism and white supremacy by directly giving our money to these other businesses and start to fund black-owned manufacturers and distributors and suppliers and small business owners and service providers and organizations. So this is what we're talking about, where the information that you know. Afia, you can I'll come back in a second. But the information that you know can empower yourself and empower others, especially in terms of sharing it. So, if they're not muted, I want to ask one more thing. Are they muted? Well, can anyone hear me? I'll say something.
That's my point.
So what I'm going to ask those of you on the line to do is I would like to hear, and you can type it in if you don't have a mic. I'd like you to just list off what some of those companies that you know, what do they do, what do they provide? Do we have resources in our community to actually provide what we need? Because the premise is that we don't. So let's talk about what we do have.
I have one that is a seasoning company called Katrina's Kitchen, and we also have a Melodic Elements, which is a all-natural deodorant line. We have.
1 second, I apologize. Afia, I don't know if you can tell which microphone that has the extra feedback, but perhaps if you could mute that person.
I'm looking for them right now, searching them out.
All right. So, sister, let me hear again from you what you were sharing.
I know of one that is a seasoning line, like a food seasoning line called Katrina's Kitchen. I know another one that is a natural deodorant line called Melodic Elements. I know one that is a comedic yoga.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? What do you know? Well, I'll go while other people are typing or thinking. So within, in fact, I'll do this. So if you all are looking at my screen, some of the strategic partners with Less by Black 365 are companies who are not just black owned, because we know that not everyone who is black in skin color has the same mindset in terms of where we need to be and where we need to go and where we want to go as a people. But there are companies out there that many of us don't even realize who have committed to the cause of black liberation and who have committed to working towards building up communities. And what that building up of communities looks like is creating jobs, and not just entry-level jobs, but creating skilled jobs, management jobs, executive jobs, so that we don't have to go to someone else's corporation and face what we face on some of these corporate plantations. We can work for thriving, sustainable, black-owned businesses that are not only committed to doing good business, but are also doing it in balance with nature and the environment and in cooperation with many other things. So, all right. So here I'm just going to share a couple of the ones that I know. Alpha Office Supplies is a company that makes office supplies. And for those of you on screen, I took a video. I haven't posted it in the social network on Let's Buy Black 365, but literally today I just opened up a package I got on Friday. I didn't get a chance to open it till today. I went on there, and on Friday my package came. I got a new keyboard, one so I can
I'm gonna
stop
try to get start getting on office supplies.
desk supplies, et cetera, et cetera. My bathroom tissue. So, Afia, go ahead and mute the microphones.
Yeah, I found out who it was right then because their name showed up. I hit them. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Wait, nobody can hear you. I muted you as well. Hold on one second. All right, you're good to go.
Yeah, I guess it'd be good if I could talk. So I was sharing, hopefully they heard the other part where I shared that my keyboard and some of my desk supplies, my new desk calendar and all that just came in the mail from Alpha Office Supplies. My bathroom facial tissue, all my paper products come from Freedom Paper Company. Freedom Paper Company is only 4 years old, and they are doing amazing things. Their products are eco-friendly. It's completely Black-owned and operated, and they distribute all over the country. Same with Alpha Office Supplies, $40 million company that's been in business for 30 years, but they're completely committed to the Black community and creating jobs. They also have an entire environmentally friendly line and do furniture and all of these things to build sustainable offices. Asase Heals makes health and beauty products or bath products. So my soap comes from there, my deodorant, my lip balm, everything comes from there. There's tax preparation through ComproTax, which is a multi-million-dollar tax preparation company that was started by 4 Black men who've been working together successfully for over 40 years, I believe, and 4 very strong Black men. One of the founders, Jackie Mayfield, was actually a member of the Deacons for Defense, which is the organization that led to the start of the Black Panther Party. Abibi Tumikasa is Obadale Kambon did his presentation yesterday. He's a master linguist, and that is a Black social network specifically about sustainability and African languages that was started 10 years ago. What our strategic partner, the Black Sustainability Summit, I think we're all familiar with that organization and institution that is trying to improve the daily lives of Black people all over the world. ONIPA is a online counseling agency that does group and family individual counseling, and AAU Talk is a TV network magazine. We also have several other strategic partners that are coming on board here in the next few days. But what I wanted to show is just the breadth of some of the things that many of us didn't even realize existed in our community. So I'm scared to do it, but I want to unmute the microphone because I really want this to be a dynamic interaction, and I want to hear from people. So, Afia, you can help me out.
I will help you out. I'm going to unmute those microphones, and I remember 2 of the people who had a little background noise, so they're going to be muted.
Okay.
All right, here I go.
Okay. All right. And I heard, or I'm seeing on the screen that someone knows of an African grocery store, an African fabric store, a restaurant, a taxi, and a taxi cab company. So what I'd like to hear are what people's thoughts are about just this exercise. You know, we just took a few minutes, and did anyone learn about a that they didn't know about that provides something that they could use in their daily life? So I think the microphones are unmuted, so go for it.
Well, somebody typed it in. If nobody's going to respond, it says Conscious Heads Barbershop in Baltimore. That came from Erlene. Then, yeah, I'm still the mics are unmuted if you all have something to contribute.
Yeah, I know Black-owned companies. Example, K Market. There's a Black catalog, Culture. So Somebody said I share all this on my Facebook page. So, yeah, looking for some of the specific business names, but Conscious Heads Barbershop in Baltimore, fantastic. So this is what we're talking about. Looking to other people in our community for what resources do I need. And what I'd like to share is that about I guess 2 years ago now, I decided that I was going to make a shift because I grew up in a household where patronizing black-owned businesses is just what we did. My parents were entrepreneurs, and one of the things that happened is every time we traveled around the country, and so we can go ahead and mute those microphones. Thanks everyone for participating and typing in. I see things are still coming in. A bookstore, plumber, electrician. Said that they, what I'm starting to see is that some of the people who thought maybe they only knew 4, it looks like maybe people are contributing more than 4. I think as we brainstorm, people realize I actually know a lot more than I think I did. And what that does is it begins to show that you are connected to community. And the more you actually engage with these businesses and the more you share resources with others, you begin to get a deeper connection to community. And what we're suggesting is, and not in any way of disrespect, but you know, in order to celebrate Kwanzaa, for example, I realize not everyone celebrates Kwanzaa, but many of us do. And what happens often, or too often than should happen, is that in December we get together and we gather and we celebrate the year. And we forget that celebrating Kwanzaa is really about celebrating a year that you have lived, embodying the principles of each day of Kwanzaa. And so what we want to do, this is the last day of January. What we want to do is plant the seeds in our own lives where we can live the principles of Kwanzaa every day. And what I would argue is that every principle of Kwanzaa ties into economics. The concept of unity, the concept of self-determination, defining for yourself who you are going to be and what you stand for, the concept of working together, the concept of cooperative economics, building our institutions and profiting from them together. And what that means is not always even just financial profit, but when there is a thriving black-owned business that creates jobs and has some political influence and can do things on a level that individuals can't, then that makes communities safer. It makes our families more stable. When people, you know, financial reasons are some of the main causes of divorce. When we have thriving black businesses and we're not dependent on other people's factories or enterprises or corporations for jobs, then that stability comes into place. So it stabilizes families. It makes communities safer. Crime goes down. Violence goes down. It affects us in virtually every aspect of our lives. And so with that, we really want to begin to understand, you know, that this is not just, you know, this is not just a, well, you know, I could spend money over there with this black-owned business, or I could spend money over here, but it doesn't really matter. When we start to take all these things into account, we realize that every single dollar, every single quarter, every single dime, every single penny matters.
I agree.
And so with that, you know, I shared more specifics and more action items in the presentation. So I would welcome you to to look at that. But I guess before I open it up for questions, I'll also share that the story I was going to tell is that I shifted, and so now I think there are maybe 27 Black-owned companies that I use to provide virtually everything that I need. So, you know, I often go down the list, and I think I went down the list on the video of everything, like my, you know, paper company and my electrician or carpet cleaner and exterminator and doctor and all of these things. And one of the, you know, someone asked, well, you know, how does that even make a difference? It makes a difference even in terms of going to bed at night. There is a lot going on in this world I cannot control, but I can control where my dollars go, and I can control how I spend them, and I can be a source of power for Black people who look like me, who have stood up to form institutions to support our community. And, you know, that's one of the major things that living a Let's Buy Black 365 lifestyle has done and can do, especially when we look at all the other stresses and things that tend to disempower us. This is one of the main ways that we can begin to empower ourselves on an individual level. So with that, I'll open it up for questions.
All right, that's magnificent. You had a lot of questions come in. I started posting in the chat, but I have one who's been waiting for a while. It's Ross Selassie. I'm going to open up his microphone so he can contribute. Ross, your microphone is now unmuted. Go ahead, brother.
Okay, yes, yeah, sister, give thanks for your introduction. The brainstorming exercise that you had just done was very interesting. Some people knew about more Black businesses than others. So some of the sustainable communities that I know of are actually starting to formulate or have like a log, almost like a similitude of yellow pages, and actually they call them, you know, like Black pages, where they would have a database of Black businesses in their area that would allow people who didn't have the knowledge for them to actually patronize Black businesses, because a lot of people just don't know they exist. So my question would have been, well, my observation, I guess, would feel that the Black Sustainability Summit, one of the, you know, the outcomes of the summit itself could be for the participants, for them to really organize that particular type of Black pages concept of everyone from all of their communities to actually create that database from people that they know, that they can submit all of these businesses that they know of, and then whether it's every city or every region or every state, eventually we can maybe possibly create like a national database of people around, you know, that's within the circle of the sustainability concept, and that's not just, you know, in America, but also to the Caribbean, to the diaspora, to Africa. So ultimately, there's like a volume, you know, like an international log. You know
well,
what I mean?
let me share because in the presentation, so I didn't really talk about it here, but that's actually what Let's Buy Black 365 is. So I think I'm sharing my screen again. Am I? Yeah, I'm sharing my screen. So if you're looking at the screen as well as listening to the audio, what this resource is crowdsourced. And what crowdsourced is like crowdfunding, where a couple of people give a little bit and come up with, you know, what could be hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. The example I gave in the video was the Barack Obama campaign that actually used crowdfunding to generate $750 million from people who gave on an average of $86. So this is not crowdfunding, this is crowdsourcing. So what it is the exercise that we just did on an individual level with the, you know, 20 people on this call. It's taking that and let's see, okay, it's taking that and doing it on a national level. And so anyone can go here to share Black-owned businesses, and you don't have to be a business owner. You don't even have to, you don't have to be affiliated with the company. You can just know there is a quality Black-owned business that I want to share with the community, and you can enter it here. And there are groups and organizations around the country that have actually started submitting spreadsheets of businesses, because they said, okay, you know, it's great, you don't have to fill out every field, but we're doing this in a comprehensive national database, because what has happened in the past with things like the Black pages, and I'm familiar with one called the Green Light pages and other directories, is that they're reliant on a small group of individuals to administer that. And when I mentioned that there are 1.9 million Black-owned businesses, what size group do we think would have to come together to be able to begin to tap into that? So this movement just launched on December 29th, and what it is an opportunity, and I would welcome everyone on the call to do just what you said. At the end of this, or everybody watching the presentation, at the end of this, you can go in and add the businesses that you know, so that you can be a resource for other people in the community starting today. So, you know, it's interesting when we look at the website, even there was a sister who we were talking about doing something about the Flint situation, and we said, well, what can we do? And there was actually a meme on Facebook that said, pray for Flint, that looked just like the one that's on my screen now. And we said, well, you know, prayer is good, but what else can we do? And so we came up with this where we said, take action for Flint. And we went right here and said, okay, water companies. Do we have any Black-owned water companies? Okay, here are Black-owned water companies. And we partnered, or we're working out, partnering with Imperial Water to be able to deliver Black or water that's bottled at the source. It's not a white label or a white company with a Black person's label on it. It's bottled at the source, delivering truckloads of water to Flint directly. So this whole movement is about not just a crisis, but how do we first identify what resources we have, so that whether it's a crisis or just mobilizing in any capacity, we know where the resources are. So this is a crowdsourced directory, and the web developer is going to work this week on actually uploading some of the you know, hundreds of businesses that, you know, some groups have put together, but individuals go in every day as they come across them and enter in the ones that they know. So you can literally, that's what this is. And also, I didn't show on screen, but the other idea is, as people need different things, there's this social network that, okay, so this is Imperial Water, the water company. It's a social network where people can add and share information, start groups, have discussions around Black liberation, and know what other groups are doing in a safe space, unlike Facebook, which is not going to block you from, you know, having these conversations, and will actually encourage you, encourage you to do that. So thank you for the question.
Okay, but in terms of trade, it could also work as a Black Amazon or Black Alibaba in that term as well, as far as facilitating trade, buying and selling, you know, books, information, electronics, you know, that type of thing, where people can actually utilize as a commerce tool.
All right, thank you. Yes, in fact, some of that has already gone on. So I would welcome you to, you know, on the main page, you can click either join or here normally log in and register and you know, see you know what's there. Start a group or a discussion around an issue, and then of course, you know, invite others that you know to join and engage also. So it's, you know, it really is a movement. The only other part that I didn't talk about is that there's also a big component with Black media, because also, you know, it wouldn't do very much good if we were all having these conversations and making not just conversations but actions around Black empowerment, and then going back to other people's media. So we've connected with Black media around the country to have not just news, but edutainment and infotainment and all these kinds of things here in this Black space, so that we have, in a sense, a self-contained way to really be about the empowerment that we're all searching for. So again, it starts with us as individuals.
Oh, okay, Nataki.
Thanks.
Yes.
Oh, give thanks. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Other questions?
Well, I don't see another question being typed, but I see a hand, and I do want to notify everybody that there's another presentation that's coming on at 8:10, and I'm going to have to sign off very shortly to go ahead and get them prepped to get on the line. But if you have any more questions, be sure to raise your hand. Ross, do you have another question while I have your microphone unmuted? I see your hand up. Or was that everything that you wanted to share?
Oh no, yeah, that was everything. Good thanks, sister. I appreciate it. Good thanks.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I don't see anybody else's hand up. Let's see. Ayana had a question. Let me see. Did you answer it? Check the chat box. I think I pasted some of the questions down there.
So the website again is www.lets.by Black BLACK365.com. And if you would like to contact me directly, I'm just one of the organizers, but my phone number is 301-244-9072. And really what this is and what this is an invitation to is for people to register, almost 301. So Maryland, not California. Several people have typed 310. What this is really an invitation for anyone who wants to engage in an activity to help wake others up, and through your example. And one of the things, we realize that there are some people in the community who will patronize Black-owned businesses because we understand the broader importance. But we also realize that there are some of us who will not wake up based on that understanding, and may need some other types of incentives to do that. And so for those masses of people who may not do it just because we realize it's right, there are things like and incentives and things. And so what you'll notice is as you begin to engage with the community and add businesses or post on the wall, you earn stars. And the more you engage, the more Black stars you earn. And then there are incentives around that. And so this is really one of the ways that people really earn stars. So I just got my office supplies today, but if I were to go to the directory, I'm just gonna click on the directory. If I were to go to the directory right now and let's say I bought Imperial Water, I can go here and rate the quality of that water. I can rate the customer service. I can do, I can rate it on a number of levels, and then I can also post a review so that other people can know this is a quality Black-owned business that has great customer service. They have fantastic products. They have a really responsive staff. They actually follow through. I got my products on time. So you can go in and do that so that everyone can begin, so it can begin to raise the consumer confidence of our people. Because what happens more often than not is sometimes people say, well, I've heard that there's a Black-owned whatever the company is, but I don't really know enough about them to really go spend my money there. So we'll take a risk when it's outside of our community, but sometimes within our community, spending $10 is a risk. And what this does is it eliminates that risk by letting you not only just share the businesses that you know, but what again is most important is that you rate those companies so that people can feel good about using them. And so the stars are really an incentive, or I guess a bonus or a praise for those who are actually notifying the community about quality Black-owned businesses. And to tie this all in to the question that was asked earlier in terms of what the organization needs, there's not really, because this is a movement, not so much an organization, there's not directly an organizational need. What this is an opportunity. We had some information on our website, and someone said, I do content writing. I would like to, rewrite some content, and now she's doing that. We've had individuals who say, I do graphic design. I like some of the memes. I want to do some more for the movement, and they've been able to do that. So it's really an opportunity for anyone who wants to support this system of Black sustainability and Black economics to say, here's something I'm good at, here's something I'm talented at. We talked about having commercials and advertising with Black media. And so there are people who want to get involved in that level. So really, it's an opportunity for anyone to take their skills or talents, and they can email us at getinvolved@letsbuyblack365.com and bring that passion to the movement. We have national conference calls every Tuesday because there are organizers in North Carolina and Virginia. Because it's national, it's not just located where I am or where someone else is. We have organizers in Massachusetts and New York and Ohio and Illinois and Florida and some places I'm forgetting right now. But again, it stays and becomes national when we continue to engage and wake up others, and that's where the empowerment comes in. When I wake up someone else, I'm empowered, and that that spreads everything. So I know we're running out of time, so I'll stop there.
Well, thank you so much. It's been such an engaging session. I wish you would have done more sessions, but we've got it, and it's great, and it's been recorded. We're going to have to hop off very quickly to help Dr. Uwa get set up so she can get her.
And I would say all the people who posted here, businesses that this is great, but go post them in the directory so that the hundreds of people who are registered there now can get them, and the next time we need to do a search for something, we can find them there. So your homework for tonight is to liberate someone else through the information that you know by adding it and rating and reviewing it, and by sharing this information with someone else.
Thank you.
Black liberation.
All right, Abibi Fahodie, good evening. Have a good night. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. You can tune into the next session. It will be starting momentarily. I'll send you the recording, Nataki.
Thank you so much for this summit.
You're welcome. Peace.